Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of the Player Base Podcast. My name is Carlton, aka Mulzak. I am your host, and with me, I have our guest for today, Stomach. How are you?
I'm good. I am Stomach, aka the Angry Muffin.
And I will say that I know that I kind of just butchered that intro, but I'm still trying to get used to it, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. Today, we are going to be talking about The Last of Us 2 in full depth. Me and Stomach have been talking a lot behind the scenes, and he says that he might have grown on it some more, so we'll see his his reactions and opinions more so later on. But from what we were talking about, we seem to have kind of different emotions on things. So let's just start with, what is the most negative things that you thought about during this game?
Oh my goodness. We just opened up a can of worms. The negatives. Whew. All right. And I'm just going to say, we definitely probably have different views. And what I meant by grown, I meant like I guess distaste may have grown. Not
Oh,
good stuff.
okay. We'll see then. We'll see how this goes.
I'll be honest. I wasn't too happy. And when I first played it through, it didn't kind of all hit me right away. I was just kind of playing it. So, me and you were talking a little bit. Obviously, right off the bat, you had been way ahead of me in the game. I don't think you beat it yet when I started playing. But
No, I beat it, I think, 3 days after it came out.
oh yeah, and I got it on. Actually, no, I think you might have had beaten it already when I just started playing.
I might have. Either that or I was really close.
Yeah. Either way, I started telling you like this is spoilers, right? So spoiler alert.
Full discussion, full disclosure to anybody. If you clicked on this, you should have seen from the title full spoilers about the game. I have a full no spoiler review back on episode 10. I tell you guys go listen to that. But if you are wanting to hear an actual discussion about everything, this is the place to be.
I mean, it's been 3 weeks. Y'all probably have already heard all this by now. If you haven't, go check the internet because it's all over the place. Anyways, most negative thing. I'm just going to say right off the bat, most negative thing is how they did Joel. That's my most negative thing. I mean, there's other negative things, but if I'm going to go into it, like how they took this character that you grew to love from the first game and essentially like made him out to be like just kind of this like piece of shit, like worst person, and then like just you get to play with them for like 5 minutes, not even riding the horse, and then you don't get to touch him the rest of the game, and then they just do him dirty, man. They beat the crap out of him with a golf club, like, and it's just, to me it was, this is like an in-depth thing here. Like, Joel has been doing this now for over 20 years. I was actually looking at the timeline because I was interested in this, but when Joel meets Ellie, the apocalypse had already been going on for about 20 years. Because I think Joel meets her when he's in his 40s, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So
it's a while.
He's been doing this for 20 years, 20 plus years, I think, when I was looking at this. So he's been around the block. Like, he's been living in this life, in this world for a long time. He knows the ropes of it, right? And I know people are going to say like, well, he's older now. He's settled in Jackson. Like, no, man. Like, when you live in that kind of world, you don't just forget everything you've learned, and just the way they get into that situation. To me, like, there's a few things I didn't like about the game. Was like the pacing. Like, if you want to kill Joel, like, you can do that. Like, I'm not opposed to that idea, but the way they paced it in this game and how they put it all together, and like, you play with Abby like in the beginning and then switch back to Ellie, and then, 2 hours in, Abby kills Joel with the club, you know, and then you're back to Ellie. And it's just like, it's just done so, to me, it was just, as a fan of the first game, and kind of what I was looking forward to was, you know, possibly playing as Joel again, you know, seeing maybe that relationship more. And it was just kind of taken away from you to kind of go a whole different route. And to me, I didn't like it, man. I didn't like it.
I can see everything that you're saying. I can understand completely. I actually agree with you that they killed Joel way too early. I'm not as much affected as how they killed Joel. I do understand and I do agree that they did him wrong, but and I'll get into this in just a second. I do agree that they killed him too early. Maybe they could have went through some of the game and did it differently. Maybe they could have went through half the game and then done it like all of their other characters, because we'll talk about that, how they didn't care to kill
we'll talk
anybody.
about that.
I just when you're saying that they made him out to be this worst person, I don't agree with that, just because, and I've said this to a few other fellow podcasters about their Last of Us discussions, is that Joel, we played as him and we loved him in the first game. We did. We followed all of that storyline, his relationship with Ellie. We grew to love these characters. But what Joel did, as much as we understood it, with saving Ellie and killing the doctor and everything, it was not the right way to do things. And personally, even when I played the first game, I thought that what he did was wrong. Like, why did you didn't have to shoot the doctor, right? But the thing is, sorry, I lost my train of thought there, but I'm gonna have to edit this out because I truly lost my train of thought.
You were saying how you know, what he did was wrong.
But he
even when you played
did.
the first
Okay,
game.
I got it. What he did was wrong, but there were consequences to those actions, and he had done that. He had killed that doctor who was Abby's father, and Abby was the product of those consequences. So, I mean, I'll bring it up a little bit later also. That's just kind of my counter argument, is that we have to look at this from both sides of the story. And I know that a lot of people don't want to empathize with Abby, but from what I see that Naughty Dog was trying to do, they accomplished it, because that's what they wanted. They wanted you to see both sides in this horrible world where things are not supposed to go right. Things are not supposed to be happy. And this is a real world situation, and it's something that would have actually happened. I mean, 2 hours into the game, yeah, that sucks, but I mean, that's how their lives worked. That's just how the time span happened. And I will say that when you said that you don't just settle down in a little town, I had major thoughts back to the Walking Dead series. I don't know how much of that you might have watched, but whenever they settle down in Alexandria and then all the crap starts going down, I that's kind of what I got from whenever you said you don't just settle down. I got flashbacks to that.
Well, no, I didn't mean like settle. Like, yeah, I settled down, but I mean like you don't forget what you've learned. You know, especially Joel, knowing what he has done in the past. I think he'd be a little careful. Like, why is there people so close to our town? They have a whole group in a lodge. You know what I mean? Just be a little bit more careful about it. Which, granted, I think Tommy like is the one that shouts his name out to Abby first. You know, to me, it was like, and I see what you're saying with the whole. They wanted to see both sides. It's got to be believable. Joel's got enemies. Like, I don't disagree. Joel's got enemies. And I don't disagree with the idea of having someone try to get revenge on him. Now, to take it back, though, to the first game, because a lot of people are saying Joel did the wrong thing. This is my kind of thing that I've been saying and thinking a lot, is they drugged Ellie. They didn't ask her if she wanted to die to be a cure. You know what I mean? No, everybody kind of overlooks this, but she was drugged, and then they were just going to end her life. Like, to me, that right there, like, not okay. Like, you know what? If they wanted to do it right, they would have been like, listen, Joel, we're going to wait for, you can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. My computer screen just, anyways, you can edit that out. You know, if they want to do it right, the Fireflies, we're talking Fireflies here. If they want to do it right, they would have been like, listen, Joel, we're going to wait for Ellie to feel a little bit better, get her strength back. I got to tell you, you know, it turns out we will need to possibly end her life, like when we do this operation, or we will have to do that. But we're going to wait for her to wake up and we're going to ask her if that's okay. You know what I mean? But it's like, no, they get her when she's passed out. They get her drugged. They put her on the operating table. Joel, we're going to kill Ellie. It's for the good of the humanity. Like, no, like, ask her. Does she not have a say in this? Or is she just some kind of a freaking test rat? And if we want to go above that to realism, like if we want to make this realistic, like what are the odds they're going to make a vaccine right off this brain? Like it's the post-apocalyptic world. You guys don't have the same hospitals, you know, to make vaccines that you did it back, you know, when things were normal. And even then, how hard is it to make a vaccine, right? And here you are, you're going to be like, oh yeah, we're just going to kill her, operate, we'll have a vaccine, humanity's saved. Like, no, man. I think Joel did exactly the right thing. They didn't want to give Ellie a chance. Joel didn't give them a chance. And in terms of the doctor, he pulled a scalpel on him. Like, what is he supposed to do? Like, walk by the doctor? The doctor told him, you're not taking her. He's got a scalpel on you. What? Oh, hey, doctor, move aside. I'm taking her. Like, no. He takes the scalpel and he stabs him in the neck with it. Like, it is what it is. So, anyways, that was just some thoughts I had on that whole piece.
The scalpel, Joel could have easily shot like his arm or a knee or something, and it would have been over there. But if you actually go back to the cutscene where they're talking about, because there was a flashback cutscene where they're talking about how it's going to actually kill Ellie, the doctor wasn't going to do it without approval from, what was her name, Marlene. The doctor wasn't going to do it without approval from her.
From Ellie?
From Marlene. I don't remember.
But who's Marlene?
I think her name's Marlene, the head Firefly.
No, yeah, but who's she to judge Ellie's life? You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
She was basically Ellie's mom throughout her whole life.
What a great mom. Yeah, you can operate on my daughter and kill her. That's why Joel shot her too. You know what I'm saying? Like, take out all those people.
I was glad when she got shot. Don't get me wrong. I don't remember that cutscene vividly, so I can't say much about the whole circumstances on the agreement. But if you actually go back to the cutscene, he did say he wasn't going to do it without approval. So, but I also wanted to touch on the fact that you said Joel's got enemies, and I don't think Joel knew how many enemies he had. And I know that sounds crazy with everything that he's done, but I don't know if he actually knew how many he had, because he was so quick to help people like Abby.
You see, that's the thing, though. He wasn't. Look at the first game. And this is what I mean. This is what I did not like about The Last of Us 2, is the way they did these characters. Okay, so I already mentioned, you know, my most negative thing is how they treated Joel, right? Mm-hmm. But my other thing is, in general, the writing for the characters in The Last of Us 2, to my opinion, was not anywhere near as fleshed out and as good as the first game. Granted, I will say Abby was actually a well-written character, right? I didn't like Abby, but she was a well-written character. But pretty much everybody aside that, including the original characters, they made them so different. Like even Ellie, in the first game was like quirky and fun, and you get a little bit of that from the flashback sequence, but she's not anything like that in this game. You know what I mean? And granted, she's older now, and I get it. Like Joel dies in the beginning of the game, so she kind of takes a darker turn. That makes sense. But still, it's like you kind of want to get that same feel that you had from the first game, and you don't get it. And same with like Joel. Like Joel is not written the same way. In the first game, when they see that dude asking for help in the car, what does he do? He puts his seatbelt on and he knows it's a setup, right? Runs that dude over. When they meet Sam and, you know, the black dude with his younger brother, when they meet them, like he's getting all pissed off because Ellie's giving out too much information. Like he was not trusting by any means, you know? And then in this game, he's just like, oh yeah, super trusting. Let's help people. It's not the same writing. It's not the same character. Like you took a character and you changed him. And, the excuse is, well, he's been settled down for 4 years in Jackson. He's older. To me, it wasn't believable. It took away a little bit of that believability. And I think when you're trying to make a game and you want it to be like a really good game, like The Last of Us, that believability is key. And nowhere in this game did I ever feel the same sense of emotion that I did when, for example, Joel's daughter dies, right? In the first game. Nowhere in this game do you feel that sense of emotion. And I'm kind of jumping ahead, but you did mention earlier, like the way they don't care about the characters, they don't. Like everybody just comes in, they die immediately. There's no, I didn't care for these characters in this game. Dina is likable, right? She's all right. I had no problem with Dina, I guess. But she's kind of nothing special. Like it's not it's something like, it's not an interesting character to my opinion. The one character I did kind of like was Jesse. I actually like Jesse as a character. I thought he was kind of cool. Reminded me of The Walking Dead a little bit, because they bring him in and then they kill him, kind of like they did with that one guy. I forgot. But anyways, it's like, like any character that they had, they brought him in. You didn't get to grow with any of them, and then they just kill him. To me, it was just like, it just didn't have that same believability, that same good writing, the same character development. Even those smaller characters in the first game, you kind of cared for them. Like you were emotional with them. When that one dude's brother turns into a zombie and then he shoots himself in the head, that was a powerful scene. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As well as when Joe's daughter dies, all these scenes were more powerful, I felt like. And I didn't get that same powerful type scenes here. I just got a lot of shock value. Just a lot of shock value thrown at you is what they were trying to do.
That is something that I brought up in my no spoiler review of the game, was that there were no big scenes that made me feel the ways that the first game did. And that's why, personally, I still classify the first game as a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. And this game I put down to an 8.5 when I finished that episode. There was nothing. The most impactful scene in that game, obviously, was his daughter dying. But the most impactful, just normal scene, in my opinion, is when, like you were just saying, I don't remember the black guy and his son's name, but whenever brother, yeah, I see, it's been so long since I played it, but whenever that happened and the kid turned to a zombie and then the older man, he shot himself in the head, that, even just that, I mean, you spent an hour or so with these characters, and then just that made you feel like, oh my God, this is what this world is. And nothing in this game really said that except for Joel's death.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay, there was the fact that while you were playing as Abby, her friends just would die out of nowhere. And I know you said you didn't like how that was working, but the biggest thing that I got from that was that, going back to what I was saying with Joel, is you don't ever know what's going to happen in this horrible, crappy world. You could die at any second. And I think that's really what they were going for, is that you could literally lose anybody at any moment. And I don't know, that theme, I do love that theme that they went with that, but the one thing that killed me was when we went to the hospital to get all of that for Lev's sister.
Oh yeah, you get her arm cut off. Yeah.
And then literally 3 hours later she's dead. No, that just literally made a whole section of the game pointless.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm trying to get at. A lot of this game, to me, when I was playing it, it felt like there was a lot of pointlessness. And even when the game ends, to me, I'm not gonna lie, it felt pointless. Even the whole thing, even the ending, sorry for interrupting, but
oh, you're good.
You're seeking revenge, and I get it. It's oh, revenge, but then forgiveness, but then revenge again, because it's no, I can't forgive. Do you know what I mean? And then forgiveness. But it's I don't know, man. It's just the writing is just so, there's so many times where like, and that's the thing, like there's people that die, right? But then there's so many other times where it's just so unbelievable. Like someone should die, right? Like there's multiple times, like Abby, when she's walking under that cage, like she could have been grabbed by a zombie all those times. Coincidence, yeah. Joe comes out of nowhere, saves her right before death. Dina and Ellie, they're captured by those people. I think it was day 1 in Seattle. And Dina's not there. It's Ellie that's captured. And then the dude's about to kill Ellie. And then it's like, no, hold on. This dude's like, don't kill her. And then they're talking. And then Dina comes out of nowhere, saves the day right before Ellie's about to get shot. And then this dude like kicks out Dina in the face. Instead of like taking out Ellie or Dina or whatever, or like shooting them both, he's like starts choking out Dina. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's just like so many moments like that. I'm sure I can think of some other ones too, where it's like the main characters are about to die, but psych, no, they're not. But then they want to make it this believable world where anybody can die at any second. Oh, unless you're, Abby or Ellie. But if you're anybody else, like, you're going to die at any second. It's just, I think too many times in this game, it took you away from that believable world. Just like with some of these coincidences, and in my opinion, just kind of bad writing is what it was. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Man. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that that's what they were trying to compensate for with the flashbacks, because they did take you back to that original feeling that you got from the first game.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in those flashbacks, even Abby's flashbacks, those were probably the best portions of the game.
The flashbacks were the best, absolutely.
Yes. Even like no fighting, pure story, pure emotion out of the characters you were playing, and that's what gave the first one so much life. I mean, yes, there was a lot of fighting in the first game, but there was also a lot of just chill, emotional situations of, okay, Ellie's never experienced this, and that's something that we also got to see when Joel took her to the museum, was, she's never got to see this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it just brought you back those feelings of, okay, this is what I've been missing out of the whole rest of the game.
Like when I was in that flashback scene in the museum, I was like enjoying the exploration aspect of it. You know what I mean? And the conversation between Joel and Ellie. Like that was by far the most enjoyable part of the game. You wanted it to last longer.
100%. It was just like a nice, 30 minutes or so, I think. And I wanted to backtrack to where you said that you actually liked Dina. I hated Dina.
Yeah.
I truly just could not enjoy her character. It has nothing to do with anything specific, I don't think. I don't understand her purpose, I guess. Like, I'm glad that she makes Ellie happy because I'm emotionally tied to Ellie. But if Dina died, I wouldn't care.
But that's everybody, though. Like, there's really no character that I personally cared about if they died. I somewhat like Jesse. I'll be honest. I like Jesse. I was a little pissed off that they just did him like that. And if we're going to talk about some like realistic stuff, because again, it's all about how real this world is. Like Tommy gets shot in the eye through the head. Dina is knocked the hell out. Freaking Ellie's got like a broken arm, like halfway dead. You're telling me they somehow patched his ass up and brought him back to Jackson so he can get medical treatment and survive?
What I was actually wanting to ask you was, how did you react whenever you thought they killed Tommy?
I was about that too. I was like, really? They killed off Tommy? Like, you're just going to kill off Joe's whole family at this point? Like,
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and then you're fighting Ellie. Like, am I about to kill Ellie now? Is Abby too? Let's just kill off all the characters. Looks like Last of Us 3 is going to be about Abby now or something, Yeah,
that's something that I thought was that, oh no, are they going to actually make me kill Ellie? So, like, whenever I got to that point, I stopped pressing the button and Ellie killed me. Because I was like, I'm not gonna kill Ellie. You're not gonna make me.
There's like a bunch of videos or memes of that right now where people are just having Abby die in various ways. I don't know if you've seen those or not.
I haven't, but that sounds amazing.
Oh man. I mean, I get what they try to do with this game. I do get it. Like, I understand they wanted to do this point of view from Abby, from this, like, you know, I get it. But it's like the way they did it and the pacing and the character development, to me, did not execute it in the way that it could have been executed to make it work. Because with the way they paced it and how quickly it happened, like, I'm sorry, like, I did not care about, you know, for me, it was, I didn't care about this Abby character. And then they make you play as her, you know? Like, to me, it's like, I'm sorry, like, you just killed Joel. Like, I don't care what kind of backstory you throw at me at this point. The way you guys set it up and how quickly it happened, to me, lost me, like, pretty much there. And then you end up playing as, you know, Ellie for like 5 hours or whatever for quite a while. You get to that point, which to me, honestly, like, since I explore every nook and cranny, I was like 10 hours in already, which is like as long as the first game was, right? So to me, to get to that point, and I was like, oh, all right, this is the end of the game here, you know? Because you had told me, like, oh, you're going to have to play as Abby a little bit, like, later in the game. And I figured that was like the beginning kind of, you know, maybe there's some other scene or something. But I honestly thought the game.
Let me stop you for a second. and then you see Seattle Day 1 again.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's what I was getting to, man. That's what I was getting to. And then at that point on, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it wasn't at that point on. There was some fun moments with Abby. All right. There's some fun gameplay with Abby. You know, you got huge arms. You're just beating on zombies, which, again, takes away from a little bit of the reality of the situation. Like, she's not wearing a long sleeve shirt. Like, what if she gets bitten? You know what I mean? We're not going to go into that detail because she's choking zombies out. You know what I mean? But she's fun to play with. And you get way better guns with her than you do with Ellie.
Yeah, you do.
The freaking flamethrower, burning them down, the assault rifle. And then the Rat King fight, I'm not going to lie, I died like 10 times.
Oh, yeah. No, like, that was crazy, and they barely gave you any ammo in there? Like, I didn't know what to do.
There's no light. That was the hard part for me. It was, like, so damn dark in there. I was like, where am I going? Oh, it's a wall. Oh, shoot. I'm in a freaking corridor. I have nowhere to go. He's charging me.
What I basically had him do was tear down every wall in there.
That's what you had to do. Yeah, that's what I figured out eventually. I was like, oh, look, there's ammo if he tears down these walls. There's a little bit of ammo there. I ended up getting... Wait, was that Abby? Yeah, you were Abby when you played the Rat King.
Yeah, it was the bottom of the hospital.
But when you're... I found this little area where I was able to, like, jump over this table, and he can't jump over tables, so he has to go around it. So I just kept jumping back and forth on this table and taking shots at him until I finally took him down.
That's great. But yeah, no, it was Abby day 2, day 3, whichever one the hospital was. I don't know. The thing that I was going to ask you was, like, do you agree with this? I wanted to ask, do you agree with the fact that the game should have ended at the end of the first time of the farm?
Well, absolutely. Like, the game should definitely have ended. That didn't make any sense.
It would have been the perfect ending.
It's a picturesque ending. Why would you go back out there? It just seemed like at this point already, like I was about to say, like, when I was playing as Abby, there was a lot of moments where I just felt like this game was dragging on, for me at least, just because, you know, I didn't care for the characters, which I want to kind of jump back to that again later too, because some of these characters are just obnoxious. But yeah, the farm scene, like, you have a perfect life. This is apocalypse. You're living on a picturesque farm. There's no zombies around. You got a little baby. It's beautiful out there. It's peaceful. You got sheep. You got meat. You got
your
cheese.
Uncle figure
with
like
Tommy.
Yeah,
Tommy. I mean, he's a grumpy uncle. He's all pissed off. He lost an eyeball. But even
I mean, you have family and friends.
Yeah, you have Jackson.
What else?
Not too far.
What else could you ask for in this world?
But it's like, no, I still need vengeance. I have post-traumatic stress after this. And then you go into this whole entire thing with the Rattlers.
whenever it made me start packing up to leave for California or wherever, I was just like, Ellie, what are you doing? Naughty Dog, what are you making me do?
This is so
And
dumb.
then at the end of the game, they make Ellie lose 2 fingers. Like, oh, like I saw Abby bite those fingers off, and I was like, what is going on between our main characters?
It was just and the whole thing. Like honestly, like they bring in a new faction, the Rattlers. Who are these people? Oh, out of nowhere, we're gonna bring this new faction. And let me talk about this too. These sort of like bosses of these factions or these like supposed like big enemies, right? Let's talk about Isaac. Because I don't know if you like to read the documents that you pick up in this game.
I do, but I didn't do it during my first playthrough. I was trying to get the story over.
Well, I did at first, but then when it got into Seattle Day 1 again, I kind of started like, you know what? I just can't keep playing this game. I got to beat this. So I just started rushing through it. But when I was playing as Ellie, I was trying to read these notes, because it's cool because you can, and just to throw some positive light out there, the detail in this game is extraordinary. You pick up those notes and you don't have to click the read button. You can literally zoom in and just read the handwriting on the note, So I was doing that. And there's a lot of notes from Isaac, actually, that you'll be picking up. So you get an idea of who this Isaac guy is as you're playing this game, right?
Yeah.
And then you meet this Isaac guy and you realize, oh, wow, this is like the head honcho of the wolves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know, I just felt like there's going to be something more to this guy. But then it's like, you have that kind of dark dialogue scene where they were like torturing someone under the scars. And, up on that elevator, there's gonna be a big battle later. You get to see him again finally, and then they just kill him just like that. I was just like, there's no epic build up to this guy or to any. Same with the Rattlers, like that big guy. You think there's gonna be some kind of an epic build up, maybe even a boss fight or something. I don't know, but then it's just kind of like, oh, Ellie pops in, shoots him in the kneecaps, kills him. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Nothing about that last hour, 2 hours made any sense. Why introduce a new faction? Why do all of that? But going back to the characters, because you had mentioned there was no really likable new characters, and I know you disagree with this, but through the whole section that it made me play as Abby, I grew to really enjoy her character. And I know that a lot of people don't agree with this, and that's okay. But I really feel that in another timeline, Abby and Ellie would have been best friends.
That's the game they should have made, Carlton. That's the game they should have made. They could have made it that way, and still even have like something where she finds out Joel later is, later on finds out it's the killer of her dad. Like they could have just been a more compelling story, in my opinion, if they went that route. Because they could have done that. They could have had it where maybe Ellie meets Abby,
Mm-hmm. What I was actually when I was just brainstorming and stuff around the ideas and the lore of the game, my thoughts were while I was playing through this that Abby, there was one point I thought that she had gotten bitten, and I was like, oh, I bet Abby's gonna be immune just like Ellie. And I would personally,
Ooh.
I think that would have been a great story.
That would have been freaking cool. I didn't even think about that. That's pretty out the box, but yeah, imagine that. Abby gets bitten at some point, however you want to do everything else, but have them like maybe meet, gets bitten, you find out she's another immune person.
Because the way I thought the story was going to go was, they were these rivals the whole game, but at the end of it all, they're going to find out that each other are immune, and that's what's going to bring them together. Is what I thought was going to be the ending, which I'm really kind of sad it didn't happen.
I like that. That was a good, because I've watched other people's reviews too, just to get people's ideas on the game, not to mess with my own. Like this is my own thing here, but I haven't heard that one. That's a great one. If they were both immune, imagine that. That would have changed the whole game.
Also, I love Lev. I absolutely love that character that they're making there. I think that I think that they are going to do a part 3. I don't know how they're going to pull it off because of that shitty ending, but I think Lev is going to develop into sort of a miniature Abby with Ellie's ideals.
I
At least
hope
in
I hope they give Lev the same muscles too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think
Just a
I
buff,
legitimately
buffed out
think
Lev.
I legitimately think that that's what they're gonna do. Is Abby's gonna train Lev into this like super soldier, like she did to herself after her father died. But I feel that in some way, shape, or form, Lev is gonna end up with Ellie and kind of form those same ideals that Ellie has.
I did not mind Lev or his sister as characters. When I mean like like they were all right characters, to be honest, when you meet them. Like
Hmm.
the whole way you meet them, you know, they're both scars. I was totally fine with that. The characters I didn't like is like Abby's crew, right? Because that's who you're killing most of the game. That's who killed Joel. One character I thought was especially obnoxious, all right, was Mel. How are you gonna
Was that the pregnant lady?
how are you gonna have a pregnant woman
Yeah.
running around, going on missions? Like, what in the hell, man? Like, oh, I was cleared for duty. Like, what are you talking about? You're like, she's like 8 months pregnant. Like, she's about
Yeah.
to pop.
What
She's
I actually had thought about earlier when I was listening to one of my other podcasts I listened to was they made me absolutely dislike both of the pregnant ladies in this game.
what's with that? You know what I mean? We love pregnant women, and here they are making us dislike them. Owen's a
But
cheater.
Mel was awful. Ugh. And Owen, I don't even want to get into that because between him, Mel, and Abby, I don't
Cheater.
get
It's
it.
like a love triangle. They didn't even go that much in depth with it. Obviously, Owen and you know, Abby like grew up together, sort of known each other for a long time. But it's like, dude's a cheater. Like, honestly, everybody that died, like in a way, deserved to die. They're kind of nasty people, right? Mel doesn't care about her baby, so she kind of deserves to die. Like, what's up with that? You know, Owen's a cheater. Manny
Hey,
just spits on people.
hey,
Like,
I even though he spit on my man Joel, I I liked Manny. And I think killing him out of nowhere like they did was a little crazy.
same thing with Jesse. They just shot them in the heads out of nowhere. But you know what? With me, Manny, I guess I don't really. It's not that I didn't like Manny. He didn't really grow on me. Like, didn't really go in depth. Like, okay, he's got a dad. Other than that, like, he's in there for a couple of scenes, cracks some jokes up, says, you know, pendejo a few times, and then, I don't know. You don't really grow with him. Yeah, like the best developed characters were probably, you know, Lev and his sister. Abby, like I said, Abby was a decently developed character. You get to understand all her friends die, but I still think Abby's kind of a piece of shit, in my opinion. And the reason why is there's never any real remorse to Abby's actions. First of all, Joel saves her life. That happened, right? Abby could
Mhm.
have been dead right there. The whole game would have pretty much been ended at that point. You know what I mean? But instead,
100%.
you know, she gets her life saved. No remorse. Kills Joel anyways, even though he just saved your life. Like, you got to be kind of a shitty person to do that, right? I mean, if somebody saved your life, granted, they might have killed your dad, but it's not like you try to find out why they killed your dad. Like, you know what I mean? And I get it. Like, you don't want to find out. You just want to get vengeance. But, like, the thing is, what they did in this game, and this is, you know, tell me if I'm wrong, they made Ellie look to be more evil, more dark, like, you're out here murdering all these people. And then Abby, they kind of show her in the more positive light, you know, friends, family, saving these scars, blah, blah, blah. Oh, forget that I killed Joel in the first hour of the game brutally after he saved my life. I'm this really good person. You know, I have this pet dog. Ellie kills my dog. Like, they made Ellie to be like this really gruesome, evil, dark person. They made Abby look to be very positive. I don't know, man. To me, I know what they try to do, and again, I think she's a well developed character. Do I like her as a character? No, I
See,
don't.
what I took from it was that we already got to see Ellie's good side of her personality, and this game was more so showing about how she's going down the dark path after her father figure was killed. But Abby, she's more on the path to redemption because, I mean, in my opinion, I noticed a few times in the game, she kind of seemed remorseful over killing Joel. I don't know if that was just something that I thought I had noticed, but there was a few instances in there where it was just like it's like she felt remorseful, but she felt good about the revenge at the same time. I feel like her story was more about redemption over the fact that she had done that. I don't know. I mean, obviously, Naughty Dog, they have their own take on everything that they did, but that's what I took from it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Just overall, I wasn't too happy with
But I mean, aside from the story, I wanted to actually talk to you about the things that I know you had to have noticed while playing, like when you would kill somebody and their friends would call out their name,
Oh yeah. I
and
mean,
they'd be like, "Hey, they killed Tyler," and like you could hear like crying in their voice, and they would run over to them, or you'd kill someone's dog, and the same thing would happen. I don't know the way that they pulled that off, like bringing you into, okay, these are actual people who have friends and lives. It's beautiful what they did with the game in terms of gameplay and world development, I guess.
well, not even just that, but the AI in general was so smart. Like I played on hard mode, by the way. I think you played normal your first
Yeah.
playthrough. I played on hard mode, and it's kind of a new thing I've been doing is like whenever I play games now, because I used to always be the guy that just plays normal mode. But for some reason, I don't know why, maybe it comes with age, but I just feel like if I'm gonna play it, I'll probably just play this game one time. Like, why not make it a little challenging? So, but that being said, I mean, sure you felt this even on normal mode. The AI was smart. Like
Hmm.
you'll get flanked. Like you can't just stand in one place and pop out the corner and shoot everybody dead. Like that's not going to happen in this game. You got to be moving. So the gameplay to me was really good. Like it was really well done. I love how you can set traps. The dogs, like I would put like little those mines that Ellie makes,
Yeah.
and because the dogs will sniff you out eventually, right? And they'll follow your scent. So perfect thing to do is put a mine because they will come up to that mine eventually and blow the hell up. You know what I mean?
Oh wow, I didn't even think about that. That's smart.
So just like all those little elements, I really loved it. The graphics, I mean, I have never seen a game with as good of graphics as this
The
game. Like,
facial
yes, I
expressions.
was about to say the face.
Especially the face. Like, I was looking at this game on not even 4K, on my 1080 monitor, and I was like, "Wow."
Yeah, I had
It's
4K, and it was, let me tell you, it's the same as the cutscenes. Like you're literally switching from a cutscene graphics to in-game graphics, and the face is the same. Do you know what I mean?
mhm.
That is some level of detail, man.
I'll be playing it on my 4K TV next. I'll be taking it downstairs and playing it. I gotta get the wife to actually watch me play through the first game first, though.
Well, the first
Uh,
game, I'll definitely probably play again. I don't know. I'm probably never gonna play the second one again,
See,
unfortunately.
the thing about the first game is I can beat it in like 5-6 hours. It's not that crazy if you play it on easy mode, but this game, like even on easy mode,
Hmm. Let me
dude,
tell you,
like,
hard mode is going to take you longer. That's why it took me so long, by the
oh,
way.
that's why I
I
didn't play on
died
hard
so many
mode.
times. I died a lot of times. Like, is that Rat King battle? Oh my goodness, man. I died over 10 times. Easy.
See, I am the type that plays a game for the trophies. So if there was a trophy for playing on the hardest difficulty, I would have played it there. But there's no difficulty trophies on this game. So I was like, screw it. I'm playing it on easy. I mean, normal. There was no reason for me, personally.
Well, I had played the first game on normal originally, but when I played the remaster, I was like, shoot, I already played this on normal. I might as well play it on hard. And for some reason, I really enjoyed it on hard. I thought it's because hard in this game, like I did die a lot, sure, but it definitely gets you to like really think about what your next move is going to be. I don't know. To me, playing on hard was like a lot funner. So that's why I just went straight to hard this time. But yeah, it took a hell of a long time, especially. Oh, and that's the other thing about hard mode is you don't get as much supplies. So you have to scavenge. And that's what takes a lot of time is constantly looking at every nook and cranny to make sure you get the supplies that you need to survive.
I've actually been listening to like devs and stuff talk about the game and how they were making it, and that is something that they all have brought up is that they wanted to make this game no matter what difficulty you're playing on, they wanted to make you think about your next moves. So you might be getting more supplies on easy mode, but that doesn't mean like the AI or any dumber or they're going to do anything different. The way it works is, you're just taking less damage. So they wanted it to be like if you're playing on hardest difficulty, you have to think about what you're doing. Do you want to throw a bottle this way and run the other way while you have a trap set up or anything like you were saying? What you were doing is actually very smart for your difficulty. I would have never thought about it. But they wanted the player to think like it was a puzzle, like you were in this situation.
Yeah, no, it was the gameplay is great. I love the gameplay. I will say it does get repetitive, and I think that's more to the fact that this game is so much longer. Like the first Last of Us, again, I don't know, maybe you can beat it in 6 hours on easy. I think it took me like 8 to 10 hours to beat it. I played on hard the second time around. But with the story and the gameplay, like it works. Like it's just fun. You can do it again. This one is such a long game, and then again, you start back from Seattle day one as a new character. It's just it got a little repetitive. Even the game, like even the fighting of the zombies, to me at some points got a little repetitive. I was just kind of like, oh, another battle of some zombies. And I will say too, as much as I love the gameplay, I thought they would introduce a little bit more new zombies than they did, and maybe some more new mechanics. I think they introduced like dodge wasn't in the first game, was it? Dodging?
No.
So the dodge mechanic was nice. I enjoyed that. And then you can prone, which was cool too. I don't know if you tried that at all, but you can
Oh
like
yeah,
prone
proning
under
was
cars.
awesome. I was so happy to see that.
Did you go under vehicles at all and like shoot people in their feet?
Yes, it was so cool.
So there was some new stuff, but at the same time, like I don't know, it would be nice to even have a little bit more new innovations as well. I feel like it was still there could have been some more new mechanics or some more new zombies at least, aside from because you have those what are they the shamblers, those ones that like
Yeah,
move around fast now.
shamblers. And that's something that annoyed me was that they introduced this new zombie and I was like, "Oh, it must just be a bloater that's been aged longer." But no, this was like in between a infected and a bloater. It was like an in between kind of thing.
Oh yeah, the shambler, yeah, and you can kill them in 2 hits with a shotgun. So it
Like
wasn't
it
like
didn't make any sense. Like how would they have not known about this before?
to me, what would have been cool was like some zombie animals or something like get infected. You know what I mean? Maybe they take longer to get infected or something. I don't know,
Mhm.
something like that. But have like some kind of other creatures that like are more difficult. I think another new character was those stalkers. Aren't those
Yeah.
new zombies?
Mhm.
Those were kind of fun because they would like watch you. Like if you like looked at them, they'd be like creeping at you around the corner.
See, my problem lies in the fact that they needed to introduce these zombies in ways. I mean, these infected, let's say infected, but they needed to introduce these infected in ways that made sense because it made no sense that these were in this world, but we who have been living in this world for so long have never heard about them. It didn't sit right with me that they didn't have a proper introduction. They were just like thrown in and Ellie had to learn about it.
Oh
It
yeah,
just
because she was all like, "Oh, these are new." Like, didn't she say that? I remember.
yeah.
Like, How are they new? Like they should have heard of them by now. They should have made it more like. You're right. That makes sense.
If infected turn into these before bloaters, how did you know about bloaters in the first game? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to talk about how there was literally only one bloater in the entire game.
Was there only one? I thought you
Yes.
No, there was two.
Was there two?
Because you fight one with Ellie and Joel. As a matter of fact, there was 3 bloaters in the game because you fight one with Ellie and Joel, right? That's the one you're thinking about. You also fight one, and maybe this might actually be because you sped through the game. So it's possible you didn't get to this one. Did you get to the arcade with Ellie at all?
What arcade are you talking about?
There's an arcade. I think it's Seattle Day 3. You have the boat at this point. You're going to the aquarium. You know, there's stops along the way. And one of the stops you can make is to this arcade.
I believe, yeah, I remember what you're talking about. That's the bloater I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's the bloater in the arcade. There's the bloater that you fight with Ellie and Joel when it's a flashback. And then there is one more bloater that you fight as Abby. When you're with Lev like stays upstairs or something, you drop down and I think he's with you actually. When you're with Lev in that one building, you do fight a third bloater as well.
Okay, so 3, but still only 3. I mean, that is the sort of mini boss of the game. I feel like there should have been at least 2 more.
I think there was even one in the first game where you fight 2 at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, and there was no, and I mean, I'm gonna wrap this up here in a minute, but there was no mechanics in this game that hit us. Like, do you remember in the first game when you activated one of Bill's traps and you were upside down as Joel?
Mm-hmm.
There was literally, I don't know, there were no like new mechanics like that really struck you.
Yeah, I mean, I did like the car chase scene. I thought, I don't know if you like would move the camera around, but that was like really well done. Like you're in a fast vehicle and they're having a conversation. Like again, the graphics. Oh my gosh, amazing! Like zooming in.
They actually I heard the devs, because I've been listening to the official Last of Us podcast. If you don't know about that, they have one. You can Google it or look it up on Spotify or whatever. But they have an official Last of Us podcast, and I was listening to it because the devs are on there a lot. And they actually were talking about how they had specific people for the jobs of... So there was one specific person that was designated to Ellie to make models for like rain, for as it was drying outside, as she was going through the game, how much blood she would have on her at that point of time through what she's done, and like cuts and stuff that would happen in the story, they actually would heal then over time. And they had people designated to that specific character to say, hey, how long in the story would it take for this to actually start healing, scabbing over? And like rain actually washes off blood in this game too. So they had like people designated for all these little bitty things.
I was about to say something about that too, but you know that a bunch of developers like left the studio after the game released, right?
I did not.
Oh yeah, there was like a bunch of devs that left. I forgot what the number was, but because they like were super hard on them, Naughty Dog. Bunch of people left. I think it was like 75, I want to say.
Wow.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was something like 75 devs
Another
left.
thing you have to remember is that it might have been Naughty Dog, but also to Naughty Dog, it could have been Sony. So,
it could have, yeah.
Because like Naughty Dog, in my opinion, from what I've always experienced, has been a great developer in terms of how they treat their employees. So I have no doubt in my mind Sony was like, hey, we need to get this out. You've delayed it too much. We need this title. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, maybe. But then again, why would they leave Naughty Dog? Like, are they going to go work for Xbox now? Like, if you're going to work for PlayStation, it's Sony.
Naughty Dog had all the cards there, so if Sony lost them, they'd be out one of probably their best developer.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: very talented group of people. They did an extraordinary job with the game, in terms of the graphics, the gameplay, um, even just the world. Like again, I love the first Last of Us game, like the world, everything. To me, it just did not execute the characters. It didn't execute the story and the pacing. And that's what, for me kind of loses it in the end. Will I play this game again? I personally won't. And was this like a really awesome game? And this goes like in my top list of like best game. Like to me, it was just a game that I played and I was like, cool, that was fun. I enjoyed it. But that's kind of it. That's where it ends, like Last of Us 1, like that's like in one of my top games. This game is just another one of those games where it's like I played it, it was great. I played other games where I thought the graphics were really good as well, but at the end of the day, is it going to be in my top list of games that I've ever played? No.
Let me ask you, will you be extraordinarily excited if they announce a part 3?
I don't know. See, I don't know at this point. That's the other thing too. Like, will I probably play it? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I probably will play it. But am I like excited for it? Do I want them to release a part 3? I kind of don't care. And that's the truth. Like, I don't care if they release a part 3 or not.
Mm-hmm.
Can they end it here? Absolutely. Are they going to release a part 3? Most likely. They probably will. Will I play it? I probably will play it. But I'm not hoping for it. I'm not excited for it. Like I was when I heard about The Last of Us 2 coming out. So yeah.
Know if you remember when The Last of Us 2 was announced, but I'm pretty sure they had a whole different storyline planned for this game before they decided that they were killing Joel. Because I can't find it on the internet anywhere, but I vividly remember seeing at an E3 conference whenever they first announced The Last of Us 2. I vaguely, vividly remember this, that they went through all of this with Ellie saying she's going off on a mission or whatever, and then Joel comes out of a shadow and is like, "You didn't think," or he says,
That did happen. Yeah.
you didn't think I would let you go alone, did you?"
Mm-hmm.
And
And
that
that,
never happened.
look, that's the other thing. And this could be like, we're trying to end this podcast, but I don't know if you've like looked at this stuff, but Naughty Dog did some stingy things with that, in my opinion, because it's not that the story was different in the beginning. They just didn't want the narrative to be controlled and to people to find out what this game is really going to be about. And to do that, that's when they put out those marketing ads as if Joe will be a bigger role in the game, when in reality, Joe was never going to be this bigger role in the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, that kind of pissed me off a little bit because that's false advertising. And there's other people that are talking about it too. You can go look it up. But they definitely did false advertising. They also were, I don't know when the leaks came out, because there apparently was a leak that came out. They were doing
it was
everything.
like May. It was like April or May.
Yeah. They were doing everything in their power to like take down videos, and like even if you're just talking about it, like memes, they were taking all that stuff down because they did not want the word to get out, which I understand. You want to keep it. But at the same time, like when people are assuming one thing and you're just trying to like present it as something else, I don't know, man. To me, that's a little bit, that's stingy, or it's stingy. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. Is there any other last things you wanted to bring up before we go into our ratings?
No. It was a good talk. Got my frustrations out, and like I said, really good graphics, fun gameplay. But that's about it. That was the highs for me, most of it at least.
Yeah,
In terms of
this
it.
talk was exactly what I thought it would be. I knew that we'd have some differences, and that's okay because we still enjoy talking to each other about these things. It's okay to have different opinions. Some people are going to like things, some people are going to hate things. I personally think this game deserves an 8.5 strictly on everything that I've said. But go ahead and give your rating on the game, and then go into your any YouTube links, any projects you're working on, whatever you want to put in there.
Yeah. Well, for me, gosh, this is hard to say. I'd have to give it a 6.5. I'm not going to give it a 6. I can't give it a 7. And the reason why it's 6.5, let me tell you again, I didn't like the execution of the story. I didn't like the characters. I did not like the pacing. To me, the game felt drawn out. Like it got too long for me, you know. But I did really love the gameplay and the graphics, and I understand the hard work that was put into it. And I'm not going to sit here and give it like a completely crap rating because face it, I played a lot of games, and there's a lot of shitty games out there. So no, I'm not going to give it anything lower than a 6. I'm going to give it a 6.5. I'm not going to give it a 7 because I just can't, because it's just, to me, it's just, the story wasn't good enough. The characters weren't good enough. So, you know, people, if you want to hate on me for it, that's fine. That's my rating. Take it or leave it. In terms of projects, I don't have any projects. I have a YouTube channel, Angry Muffin. Check it out. But I'm waiting for Ghost of Tsushima to come out, and I will be doing content around that. I actually originally wanted to do Last of Us 2 content, but with how this game turned out, I just didn't have the motivation to make any content around it, to be quite honest. So there you have it.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about how you were wanting to do the Last of Us stuff. I was actually going to ask about if that turned out. But definitely you'll have to tell me about Ghost of Tsushima because I won't be buying it. But if it gets good enough ratings and everything, I might get it later down the road. I honestly don't know anything about it. I just know that it's supposedly going to be a really good game.
Well, it's open world. You're a samurai that's hunting down the Mongols that have invaded your island. So you're like a ninja samurai. I mean, the main thing that I like about it is there's no compass or map. So you just explore. And I think you can like call on the wind and it'll kind of point you in the right direction. But there's no like map to show you or like a little cursor to show you.
So kind of
where
like
you need to go.
Shadow of Colossus.
Yeah, like that kind of. Yep.
Okay. So I do want to thank everyone for listening. The support has been amazing. We are available on every podcasting app. Be sure to subscribe if you like the content that we provide here. We're really gonna have Stomach on a little bit more. I enjoy talking to you. I know that Xotic does too. We always have good conversations.
Yeah,
Be
I
sure.
love being. So
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say no. I love being on this podcast. You guys are great, and I do hope to join you on some more conversations in the future.
Be sure to follow, like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. You can follow us on our Twitter page at ThePlayerBasePC, and you can also follow me personally on Twitter at Mulzak1234. We have a fan mail account that you can send feedback, voicemails, voice messages to. It is ThePlayerBasePodcast@gmail.com. If we ever get enough voicemails to actually play, we really want to have a voicemail episode, strictly voice questions, stuff like that. But I think that's it for me. If that's it from you, then yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I really enjoyed having you on. Thank everyone for listening, and I'll see you next time. Episode 12.